What's up, everybody? Hope you guys are doing good. I am filming this the day before the Super Bowl. It's going to be Rams versus the Bengals. I have no idea who's going to win that. I guess if I were to go money line, I'd go Rams. But if I'm getting the points, I'll take the Bengals. Right now, the Bengals are getting 4 points, 4-point underdog. So if I'm betting with the spread, I'm going to take Bengals and the points. But otherwise, I guess I'm going Rams. I've been if I'm going to do any bets, it'll be on those prop bets, like what color's the Gatorade and how long is the national anthem. Those bets are kind of fun for me for the Super Bowl, but it'll just be fun for me to watch. I don't really have any particular rooting interest, so we'll see who wins that game. So anyway, today I am doing my vintage card collection. Any card that is either an 8 near mint or higher, or not a mint 9 or a 10. I'm actually pretty proud of my vintage, high-end collection. I actually think I got a pretty decent collection, and by the way that I personally, everyone's got their own way of defining vintage, but for me, 1980 is where vintage begins. 1981 is where modern cards begin, because that's when Don Russ and Fleer came into the fold, and that just kind of started the junk wax era. So for me, 1980 or earlier is vintage. Obviously, 1980 would be modern vintage, and then you get into post-war, pre-war kind of older stuff. But if you have any card that is, to me, that is 1980 or earlier, that's an 8 or higher, I think that is so awesome and something that I want to add more and more to my collection too. And it's been a big focus of mine so far this year. So without further ado, let's get into it. So for 1980, I have 2 cards. One of them, of course, is the Rickey Henderson rookie, 1980 tops in a PSA 8. I'll probably go through these cards relatively quick. You guys, if you watch my channel, you've probably seen these cards before, but just so awesome to own. You got to own a Rickey Henderson rookie. It's a beautiful card. And then my other 1980 card, kind of random, is this Walter Payton card that I think I got for like $8. But again, PSA 9. I mean, 2 really nice cards. It's always interesting to see when tops, when you look at the football card and the baseball card next to each other, how the cards are similar or different, but you can see they used a very similar design here. So 2 awesome cards there, PSA 9 and a PSA 8. All right, so moving on to 1979, I have 1 card, and it is the Ozzie Smith rookie, and I have this in a PSA 9. Picked this card up when I was out in Minnesota for really cheap. I got it for like $20, $25, and got it graded by PSA, and it came back as an 8. So really happy to have this beautiful Ozzie Smith card in a PSA 8. My only card from 1979. For 1978, I have 2 cards, and I guess I'll just show them together. Mike Schmidt and Robin Yount. So the Schmidt, you can see, is a BVG 8.5. One of my first, this is one of those cards that I had growing up, had it in a top loader for the longest time, and then when I got back into collecting in like 2013, 2014, I sent this off to BVG or Beckett, because that was all I knew. In 2014, I got back into collecting, and I'm like, well, I remember Beckett growing up as like my price guide, so let me submit it to them, and they gave this an 8.5. And then I got this card, this Robin Yount, in a PSA 9. And this is just like both of these cards. I didn't get a chance to look them up, but I'm assuming you can get these cards for really, really cheap. These Hall of Fame, surefire Hall of Fame type players, high grade, late 70s, early 70s cards. It's amazing. As long as they're not the rookie card, you can get them really cheap. And I've been talking about it lately on my channel. I think that they're really great buys right now. So 1977, it's a Star Wars 1977. So for 1977, I got these 2 Star Wars cards. And then I also have, in addition to that, so these I believe are my only PSA 10s. from the 7. And this is part of the reason why I picked them up, is that, you know, to me, getting a 10 from a card from the 1970s is so, so cool. It's so rare. And the fact that, you know, somebody was able to, you know, hold on to these and keep these in such great condition all those years and then get it graded and come back at 10 is just so awesome to me. So these are my only 2 10s, I believe. You know, I'm pretty sure they are. And then, of course, these are the 2 Luke Skywalkers from 1977, both considered sort of rookie cards. You know, for those of you Star Wars fans out there, they just finished up the Boba Fett series, which I thought was pretty good. It was, you know, it wasn't great. I didn't like it as much as The Mandalorian, but I really liked it. And then, of course, this card, the C-3PO Anthony Daniels Error, also from 1977. So all 4 of my Star Wars cards, or all my 1977 cards that are 8 or higher, are all Star Wars cards. 1976, let's see, I have 1, 2, 3 cards from 1976. Here are 2 of them. The 1976 Topps Walter Payton in a PSA 8, and the 1976 Ted Williams all-time All-Star card in a PSA 8. Just so awesome to, you know, have these cards in such great condition. I believe there was a Walter Payton that sold on eBay this week in a PSA 10 for like $72,000. Obviously, this is not a PSA 10, although it looks like it could be. I mean, look at this card, PSA 8 on this Walter Payton, but 2 beautiful cards. And then my third PSA 8 or higher is this Nolan Ryan, 76 Topps Nolan Ryan in a BVG 8. So just to show my 2 76 Topps cards, both in an 8, BVG and PSA 8s. On to 1975, and I have 1 card, and I was showing this, sort of started a controversial video that I did about high-grade vintage or just vintage in general and how it's done really well over the last year, and pointed out that a Mario Mendoza card had gone up a lot. And I'm sure a lot of you guys saw that, was, you know, kind of comparing how sports card investors were not talking about vintage, spend their way too much time talking about modern cards and, you know, how those cards are going up. But if you've been paying attention and really watching things, vintage cards have done very well over the last year or two. So anyway, 1975 Topps Mario Mendoza in an 8.5. 1974, and this is, I forgot to point out that there's going to be 2 cards that I have not shown on my channel yet. So I'm going to show off the Dave Winfield that I've showed off before, 1974 Topps in a PSA 9. It's just awesome to have a Dave Winfield in a PSA 9 there. I remember in the ESPN Top 100 Greatest Players, I remember Winfield being pretty high on that list, which was pretty awesome to see. Now, brand new card. I'm going to talk a little bit about this card. The 74 Calby Sadaharu Oh in a PSA 8. And just think this card is so awesome. So, Sadaharu Oh, if you are not familiar with him, he is the all-time leader in home runs in all of baseball, not just in Japan, but in all of baseball history. He hit 868 home runs in his career. And that is, by the way, 100 plus more than Barry Bonds hit. So he hit more career home runs than Barry Bonds, than Hank Aaron, than Josh Gibson, than, you know, Babe Ruth, and the list goes on and on. Obviously, he did all that in Japan. Doesn't get, you know, as much love as maybe he deserves. I mean, there have been Japanese players that have come to America and have done very well. The competition is very good in Japan. You saw that, you know, Tanaka did really well, Ichiro Suzuki, and then, of course, Shohei Ohtani recently. So the competition is incredibly good. And Sadaharu Oh, 868 home runs. I just wanted to, like, in 1974 was probably his best year. Let me just give you guys these numbers, because these are like softball numbers. So he only had 385 at bats, but listen to this: 105 runs scored, which led the league. He hit 49 home runs, which led the league. 293 total bases, which led the league. 107 RBIs, which led the league. He had 158 walks that year, which set the all-time record in Japan. So think about it. He had 158 walks and only 385 at-bats. That is incredible. 45 intentional walks. Led the league in batting average with 332. Set the record in Japan for 532 on base percentage, and set the record with OPS with 1293 that year. So just an incredible player, and I just love this card. And just the fact to get it in a PSA 8 from 1974. His rookie card, by the way, is in 1959. I do, like, one of my goals this year is to get one just epic card. And I don't know what card that's going to be, but it's a very short list of some cards that are on, that will be that epic card. It could be a 33 Gowdy Ruth. It could be a Ty Cobb. You guys know I've wanted that Ty Cobb T206 bat off shoulder card for a long time now. And maybe that card is the 59 Sadaharu Oh rookie card. So I don't know, something to keep an eye on. Maybe that's the card, but just love this card. And I love the fact that he's rounding second here, obviously after a home run, and you can see everything in Japanese. And it's just so cool. Like, you can see the ball player in the back kind of like, I can't believe he just hit another home run, and the umpire. Just love this card. And by the way, he played for the Giants, who are sort of like the Yankees of Japan. I think they have like 22 World Series, championships, which is awesome. Obviously not, 27 for the Yankees, not quite there, but pretty much the Yankees of Japan. Let's see, we are at 1973. Let's see, I have two cards from 1973, both in a PSA, one Joe Torre in a PSA 8, and the Mike Schmidt a Ron Say rookie, and a BVG 8. So those are my two 1973 cards. Just, the fact that I own any cards from 1973 at an 8 or higher, I think is awesome. 1972, I've got two of them, and here they are. You guys know I just picked up this Willie Mays OPC in a PSA 8, and then I have the 1972 Topps Chris Chambliss in a PSA 8. So two really awesome cards. You know what? Let me throw some of these vintage cards in the background. Let me put the Willie Mays back here. Take some of these modern cards out and put some awesome vintage back here. Put the Joe Torre back here, and got to put the, let me put the Sadaharu, my latest pickup right there. Put the Willie Mays in the background and the Walter Payton. So fix that a little bit. All right, on to the next card. So the next two cards are from 1970 and 71. So we have these two cards that I picked up for like, I don't know, $20 at the National last year. Really cheap SGC 8s, two common cards. I just love these oversized, beautiful cards from 1970-71 Topps basketball cards. Let's see. Next up, we have from 1970 the Bill Buckner rookie in a PSA 8. Such a cool card of Bill Buckner. I'm sure you can get this card really cheap. On to 1969, and I have two cards from 1969, Reggie Jackson and Tom Seaver. So I don't know if you guys can count this as an 8 or higher. A lot of people will say like a 9 OC is like equivalent to a 7, but I decided to put it in there. It's a 9 OC. Obviously way off center, top to bottom especially, and then you can see it's even worse on the back there, but this is a card that I bought ungraded and got it graded. I knew it was off center, but I just thought it looked really nice. And then you got the Reggie Jackson rookie in a PSA 8. This is a card that I wanted for so long and then finally picked it up, I think like 2 years ago. Next up is a brand new card that I added to the collection just, I don't know, a week ago. 1968 Topps Superstars card. Oh my God. And there it is in a PSA 9 of 3 Hall of Famers. should be first ballot Hall of Famers, but Harmon Killebrew was not a first ballot Hall of Famer. Harmon Killebrew, Willie Mays, and Mickey Mantle, 1968 Topps in a PSA 9. So beautiful card there, of course. Let's see, that was 1968. Don't have 67 or 66, but I do have a 1965 Topps. Tony Oliva just got inducted into the Hall of Fame in an SGC 8. So I picked this card up raw, got it graded by SGC when like PSA was just, not accepting anything unless you submit it for like, $200 or higher, which, by the way, I actually just submitted 5 cards to PSA. I was able to get 5 cards for $50 a piece, which is still really expensive, way more than I want to pay for grading. But I had a couple of really, good cards that I thought were worthy of $50 a piece, so I submitted them. But anyway, you have to be a Collectors Club member, by the way, guys, to do that. So anyways, Tony Oliva in an SGC 8. This card's just amazing. Look at that. 1965 in an 8. Next 2 cards, I've shown these 2 cards off a lot. 1964. The Roberto Clemente and Mickey Mantle Topps Giants, both in a PSA 8 from 1964. Look at that. Incredible. Oversized cards, and here's the back, by the way. Clemente leads NL in hitting, and Mantle smashes 15th series home runs. So 2 really beautiful cards, both in a PSA 8 there. All right, we're getting into some of the real older vintage now, which I don't have a lot of. I wish I had more of it, and here's the stack right here. Not too many cards. We are going to get to the 50s now. I don't have anything from 63, from 62, 61, 60. But I do own 2 1959 Topps cards in a PSA 8. The Johnny Padres and Mickey Mantle cards. Mickey Mantle and, or Yankees and Dodgers, which is always cool. 59 Topps. Mickey Mantle, just the fact that I own a Mickey Mantle and an 8 or higher from the 50s is so cool. But anyway, Johnny Padres and Mickey Mantle, both in a PSA 8. Let's just look at that for a second. Just awesome. Next card is one of my favorite cards in my collection, which shouldn't come as much of a surprise. The 56 Topps Jackie Robinson in a PSA 8. Just crazy. If you guys own anything from the 50s that are, or earlier, that is an 8 or higher, how cool is that? It's just incredible to own a near mint card from the 50s. And, look at that, Jackie Robinson. And the fact this is a Jackie Robinson from one of my, probably my favorite set of all time, the 56 Topps set. It's the only card that I own in an 8 or higher, from 56. And there it is, Jackie Robinson. 55, I own 1 card, and it is this Al Rosen in a BVG 8. So my dad was a huge Indians fan growing up, and this was one of the cards that he got me, I think, like one Christmas or birthday. And, when I got, again, 2013, 2014, submitted it to Beckett, and it came back as an 8. So a couple of cards left. Next one, of course, another card that I just picked up last year at the National. Look at this card. Oh, my goodness. 1953 Bowman Color Peewee Reese. Arguably the awesomest card of all time. And if you want to argue that, I have no problem with that. I think it is one of the awesomest, most beautiful cards ever created. I know that Mike, baseball collector, this is, from what he told me, I think at one time, is his favorite vintage card or favorite card of all time. So just having this in an 8 is just incredible to me. And when I saw it at the National in Chicago, it was in a range that I was willing to pay, and decided to pick it up. So there it is, the 53 Bowman Color Peewee Reese. Not even a rookie card, but just one of the awesomest cards of all time. Here, the next card, we got 3 cards left, and one of them is a brand new pickup, by the way. 52 Bowman Bobby Thompson, the shot heard round the world. And the Giants won the pennant. And my dad just got me this card for Christmas back in, I actually didn't get it until January because we just didn't get a chance to meet as a family for Christmas. You know, it's been crazy times the last, couple of years, but as you guys all know, but he got me this 52 Bowman Bobby Thompson in a PSA 8, 52 Bowman. Just look at that card. It's just absolutely beautiful. Love that with the American flag in the background too. So really awesome card there, PSA 8. And up until like 2 days ago, this was the oldest card that I had that was an 8 or higher. And this is, again, a card from my childhood collection. It is the 1950 Bowman Ted Gray in a BVG 8. So there, look at that card. And one of my favorite cards in my collection, to be honest with you. Not incredibly valuable, but look at just the brilliance of this card in a BVG 8. And then here is the back. Nothing too exciting there, but just so cool. All right, and last but not least, here is, I knew I was going to be doing this video, an 8 or higher, and I wanted to get a card prior to 1950 in an 8 or higher. This was not easy to do because I didn't want to spend a fortune, but I did want to get something really nice. The 33 Gaudi set, anything in an 8 or higher was way beyond what I was willing to pay. T206 cards, I would love to get a T206 in an 8 or higher. That would be incredible. But I found some value in the 1934 Gaudi set and ended up getting this, the 1934 Gaudi Shanty Hogan, Frank Hogan in a PSA 8. So the 34 Gaudi, for whatever reason, I know a lot of collectors are into the 33 Gaudi set because it has the Gehrig and the Ruth cards and all kinds of, a lot of people talk about it as one of the greatest sets of all time. The 34 Gaudi doesn't get as much love, and that is why I was able to get this in an 8 without just breaking the bank. Not that it wasn't, super cheap. It was still still expensive, but just so cool to get this in a PSA 8. I love that it says Lou Gehrig says at the bottom. Shanty Hogan, you can see here on the back, he played for the Boston Braves. He's actually was a pretty decent player. Was 6'1", 250 plus pounds, like a big guy, catcher for the Boston Braves. And there was I think a 4-year period where he hit over 300. I saw that he was traded at one time for, somebody traded Rogers Hornsby for Shanty Hogan. So I wonder who got the better end of that deal. But yeah, so that's it. I mean, this is my addition to the PSA 8 collection, the 1934 Gaudi card. And look at that. Not perfectly centered, little off left to right, but just, I think it's absolutely beautiful. And then you can see here, just so cool. Boston Braves. So anyway, those are my two pickups. You guys can see I'm going vintage. I'm going for high grade vintage. That is my focus. There is so much, as I've kind of discovered this area, I've discovered like a new world. I feel like it's so exciting. Like there's so many, like if you don't get the rookie cards, like of course, if you get the key cards, you're going to spend a fortune, but you can get like a guy like Sadaharu Oh, or Shanty Hogan in an 8 or higher, and they're not going to be cheap by any means, but just so awesome to get these old vintage cards in such high grade. And Sadaharu Oh, I mean, his stuff should be a lot more expensive. These Calby cards are kind of weird because they're, there were so many of these made with Sadaharu Oh. Like, the whole set was of him, basically. And so they're kind of confusing. I haven't totally figured it out, but I just love this image of him rounding second base, and so I had to pick it up. So anyway, this has been going on kind of long now, almost 25 minutes. Hopefully you guys have stuck around for the entire collection. Let me know, you guys, what you think about my collection of vintage, high-grade vintage, 8 or higher. If you guys do a similar video, please let me know. I'd love to see, it doesn't have to be 8, or maybe it's a 6 or higher, whatever you want to do. But I'd love if you guys do something like this, like high-grade vintage stuff. If any of you have a collection like that, I'd love to see it. So anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Good luck to both the Rams and the Bengals tomorrow in the Super Bowl. And please like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will talk to you later.